they go the first week. They go. Oh, well, this is exciting, and then they're gonna forget it.
I don't really want to know what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody just texted me if it's on. Yeah, I didn't post it on the regular chat. I don't know, whatever.
So, Rabbi Stein, everyone's good at home?
Baruch Hashem, so far so good.
Good. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Kiddush with the Rosh Shiva, and he was all surprised. But he was surprised that he didn't have COVID. Like, after all that, you didn't have COVID, Jesse?
Too stubborn.
Okay, ready to chazer? So yesterday, not much to chazer from yesterday. Hold on. What was it? Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, right?
Yeah, we're still middle of Mem Aleph Aleph, the bottom.
The bottom, right?
That's
Okay,
what
so
we should start
yesterday,
today,
yeah, so Amud Aleph was basically what the Gemara is about. Yeah, so are you, whether you're allowed to cook the carbon pesach with water, which you're not, the difference between water and other things. Just one thing, because it was fast on Friday. So we said from this Gemara is where we learn out the machlaikis of whether we say this bishul after cooking and roasting or not, and the opposite. So the interesting thing is that there's also machlaikis whether using a ladle makes a ladle kli sheni, and then when you take the ladle, put it into the bowl, right? Meaning the pot on the oven on the fire is one kli, on the and then you put it into the bowl is the second kli. The question is, you really want to put it into a kli shlishi because we say that there is cooking after baking. So if you want to dip your challah in, so then you really want it in a kli shlishi. So since it's a double machlokes, we look at the ladle for sure when it comes to dipping challah into soup. We definitely look at the ladle as it's a kli shlishi. I mean, as a kli, it becomes a kli sheni. Right, meaning it's a machlokes whether we say like our Gemara whether it is bishul after baking or not, and it's also machlokes whether a ladle makes a kli sheni or not. So two chumras you don't have to do. So therefore, for sure, you're allowed to dip your challah into the soup that's in a kli sheni, which is the way we paskin. So you don't. That's why it's really not so negeya. Right, it's really not so negeya. This shiloh with the challah. Right, because l'maisa we paskin, we don't go with two chumras, and therefore you're allowed to dip your challah into the soup once you get it. Yeah, fine. Okay, so bottom line, Mem Aleph Amud Aleph Amar Rava.
Parrots, I told you the wrong thing, Parrots. I'm sorry.
Huh?
Before I made a mistake. No, not a big deal.
Okay. So Amar Rava, Achlu na, if you eat it. Not raw, but partially cooked, like a stein. You're going to get two malchus. The Rashi says because of loy soichal na, there's one lav, umishum loy soichlu ki im tzli eish, right? Two psukim, right? That's why you can say you're going to get two malchus if you eat the carbon pesach not fully cooked. Mevushal, if it's cooked and not roasted, also like a stein.
Where are you?
Now we're on the top of Mem Aleph on the base.
An Aleph a little bit.
Yes, because we didn't Thursday night we only did a little more than a block. Right? Na umavushal. Let's say you eat a kizayis of not fully cooked and a kizayis of cooked but not roasted, then you're gonna get three malchus. Right? One for the each, like we just said, plus the third for the rule, for the whole rule that Karban Pesach has to be eaten roasted. So Abaya says you don't get malchus on the lav shebeklalos, a lav that's just a, how do you say it? It's just not, we had this before, it's not a specific lav, it's just a general rule, that's what it is. You don't get malchus on a general rule. So now we have a machlaikis, what Abaya means, because all Abaya said is you don't get malchus. Does it mean you get no malchus? Does it mean you get one? Does it mean you get two? So you could damni, tarti hudaloy loki, chadamiyas loki. Right? Some say two, there's no malchus, but you get at least one. The other one says, no, you don't even get one. Because there's no specific isser like the lav of chasima. The lav of chasima is the lav of muzzling your animals while it's working the land. So you're not allowed to do it. So the pasuk that says that you get malchus is right before the lav of chasimon. So the lav of chasimon tells you a very specific din. You're not allowed to muzzle your animal. So we're saying here there's nothing very specific. It doesn't tell you what it is. There's no lav it says specific. It says when it says kiyim tzliesh, right? So mamela, you're not according to the second shita, you also don't get malchus at all. Rabba says ochal zag. Now we have the same case. Same situation, different case. Ochal zag, if you ate the skins of grapes, like a shtayim, meaning obviously this is talking about a nazir, he gets 2 malchus. Chartzan, if he eats the pits, like a shtayim, he gets 2. Zag v'chartzan, like a shalosh. If he eats both, then he gets 3. So Abai Amar ain't like an alav shebeklolis. So he says, no, you don't get a malchus on a lav. That's a general rule. Ikadamri tarti udeloy lucky, chadami is lucky. So there's a machlokes. Some say that what Abai said is you don't get malchus means you don't get 2, but you get 1. Ikadamri chadanami lucky udeloy miachad lavek alav dechasima. It doesn't have any specific lav like it has by chasima, by specific that it has by muzzling. Fine. So that's a machlokes, and then there's a machlokes how to understand the Abai. Tan Rabbana. Let's say you eat a half-eaten korban pesach on Friday. I didn't mean Friday. I mean this year wouldn't be Friday either. On erev Pesach, potter. Then you are potter. Why? Because it's not this man of eating Pesach, right? You're eating korban pesach has to be in the night. So you ate it on erev Pesach. You ate a quasi cooked, quasi roasted korban pesach. So you're potter. Kezayis namashich hashecha, but if you eat a kezayis of not fully cooked korban pesach at night, you're chayev. Then you're chayev. Ochel kezayis tzli mibayid yom. If you eat a kezayis of roasted pesach mibayid yom, loy pasal atzmim nechabura. You're not going to passel yourself up from the chabura. Kezayis tzli mashich hashecha. But if you eat a kezayis of roasted meat from when it gets dark, pasal atzmim nechabura, then you are passing yourself from chabura. So the background to this is that every korban pesach had to have a chabura. You have to be part of a chabura. I mean, I guess you could have done it yourself, but once you're part of a chabura, so you can't go jump to another chabura. Right? And if you did, then you can't go to the other one. So here, if the guy ate the korban pesach, he was just chalashing to do the mitzvah, so he ate it on erev pesach. It wasn't yet this man of eating the korban pesach in chabura, so therefore you didn't passel yourself from your chabura. And you can go be with your chabura at night. But if at night you decided, before you went to your chabura, that you are going to eat your own kezayis, then you're no longer allowed to go to the other chabura, because once you're in one chabura, you're not allowed to change to other chaburas. So that's why, you're not going to make yourself possible, because it wasn't in the zman chiyuv. But once you eat it by yourself at night, then you're possible from going to the other one. Tani yidach, yachol ochol kezayis nami b'oid yom yechayiv. You have a different price. You would think that if you ate half roasted mibayid yom, you should be chayiv b'dinu, and it should be a kavachomer, right? It's not really a kavachomer, but it should be pashut. What if you're in the time that you're supposed to eat tzli yeshna b'bal toichal? No, then you're not allowed to eat it half baked. Meaning at night on Pesach, when you have to eat the korban Pesach, you have the assur of not eating it half cooked or half baked, I should say half roasted. When you're in the time where you're not supposed to eat roasted, then of course that you shouldn't eat it partially roasted. Right? Or you say no. When you're not in the time that you're supposed to eat it, either then you're in the time that you're not supposed to eat it half roasted. But when you're in the time that you're supposed to eat it, then you're not in the and don't wonder about this. Right? Meaning, how does the assur go away? Meaning, if you're saying that the assur is there during the day, I'm sorry, the essay says not during the day. So how's it going away at night? I'm sorry. Let's go back. When it's not in the time of eating sleep, meaning Erev Pesach, then you have the Isser. Which is Pesach by night, then it's not. And don't wonder, right? Because you're being materit from its rule when it's roast, when you're supposed to eat it roasted. Don't eat it half baked and don't eat it cooked in water. Only roasted. It doesn't need to tell you right? Why is the pasuk adding that? It says don't eat it half cooked and don't eat it cooked with water, except roasted. So what is it teaching you? Only with sliyesh. So what's telling you is that when you're supposed to eat roasted, then you have the isser of eating it half roasted. When you're not in the time that you're supposed to eat it roasted, which is Erev Pesach, it's not in Bal Toichel no. All right. So basically, it's the same shiloh, whether it's Bal Toichel no or when 2 days, whether there's an isser to eat it, either eat the korban Pesach half baked on Erev Pesach or not. Fine. Rabbi Omer, there's a new thing. Rabbi Omer, Akrani Boshel. I read the pasuk Boshel, right? Meaning it says Boshel Mevushel. Why do I need a double lashon Boshel Mevushel? Now on Friday we had what we do with the pasuk of Boshel Mevushel, but Akrani Boshel. It says Boshel. That's only going to tell me when you cooked it at night. If you cooked it from Erev Pesach, how do you know? When you cooked it at any time, meaning whenever you cook the korban Pesach, even if you cooked on Erev Pesach, it's going to be assur. Now we use bashal vushal on Amud Aleph, right? Hi bashal vushal afke Rebbe. Rebbe used this pasuk to tell us that you're not allowed to cook a korban Pesach in its own liquids and in other types of liquids other than water. So how is he darshaning this pasuk to tell you that even if you cooked the korban Pesach on Erev Pesach, it's a problem? So then when it says imkein lemakra oy bashal, it should say bashal oy mevushal or mevushal. My bashal mevushal. What does it mean? Bashal mevushal shmamis mina tarti. So that tells us 2 dinim, right? Tells us 2 dinim. Yeah. So it's available to learn. So it's interesting. So by the Torah using the lashon bashal mevushal, so the double lashon is teaching us something, and that it didn't say bashal or mevushal is also teaching us. So we're really learning out 3 things: cooked in its own water, or cooked in other liquids. And we're learning that it can be cooked at any time. Any time it's cooked is going to make the korban Pesach possible. Fine. Okay, so Tana Rabbanan. If you ate roasted the korban Pesach b'ba'id you're chayiv. See, before we just said you're not puzzled from your chabura. We didn't say whether you're chayiv. Here the Gemara is saying chayiv. And if you ate half roasted at night, then you're chayiv. Because we learned that roasted is similar to the half cooked, half roasted. Man no belav aftzli belav. So just like you're not allowed to do it, no is a lav. So aftzli belav. So too the tzli is also a lav, and you're going to get malchus of that. So bishlam no ksiv al taichlim menu no. So we understand it. You get malchus. It's a lav because it says don't eat it. No. How do you know tzli? It says to eat the basar b'layla in b'yom loy. That's not a lav. It says eat the korban Pesach at night. Mashma, you're not allowed to eat it at night. Okay, so you're not allowed to eat it at night. Is that a lav?
Not allowed to eat it at day. Not allowed to eat it at day.
Not eat it. You can't b'layla in b'yom loy. But there's no lav. Hi lav haba mechlal asehu. This is a lav that comes from an asay, meaning by the Torah telling you do it this way. So if you do it the other way, that's a lav. But that's a lav abba mechlal asay. V'chol lav abba mechlal asay asay. Parrots, this is a makas gemaras, no? Right? V'chol lav abba mechlal asay. Any lav that comes from a rule by asay is considered an asay. not a lav. So how do you give malchus for eating the carbon pesach on Erev Pesach? Shomer Rav Chisda. So Rav Chisda says Hamani Rabbi Yehuda. Now we're on to today's daf. Hamani Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda who holds that it's a lav. It's not a lav. Abba Mechlala say is a lav. The Tanya shar v'seh saru of a kolot. If you have a shar or a seh, right? A sheep, a shar, a cow, a bull, or a sheep. Saru of a kolot. So it's what do you say? Saru is one of its eyes. Rashi says is bigger than the other, or any of the limbs. One limb is bigger than the other. The kolot, or it has unsplit hooves. Nedava tasa say you should make it into a nedava, right? But you can't bring it as a carbon, but you should give it as a nedava to the bedek habayis. I say atamatus bedek habayis. Atamatus tamim in the bedek habayis. You should give an animal, meaning it's not straight up bal mum. That's pashut, right? This is an animal that looks a little strange.
What do they do? What do they do with it? This animal they sell.
You give it to the bedek habayis, and then they'll either sell it or whatever they want to do. Yeah.
But they can't use it for a carbon, correct?
Avadanat. The pasuk's telling you not to. Yeah, it's not a mum. If it was a mum, then you don't need a special pasuk. This is not a mum. It's got a little bit of a defect, right? Defective. So saying give it to bedek habayis. Mashma that you only get that from the asay that you're supposed to give it to the bedek habayis. That's mashma that you should not give it. You shouldn't make it hektish, right?
How's that in this? What kind of a say is it? I want to eat it for lunch tomorrow.
No.
Parents to make barbecue. What am I giving to Berich Sabigdish for?
No, it's chanami. It's not. That's not mechuyev to.
But how can it be an say? So it can't be an say.
No, so that's the thing. How do you teach nedava tase oisai? You should make it in nedava. That's the literal translation, right? That's the literal translation. So nedava tase oisai. But obviously doesn't mean you're mechuyev to. I mean, then why would?
It means you could do it. No.
It means you could do right. That's what it means.
So you could do it. Doesn't mean you have to.
And that's why you have to teach it. But I'm not so sure that's the literal teach. Tasa oisay means you should do. Okay, however it is, you have the option of making it into a for the bedek habayis. So oisay, but it's an asay.
Isn't it telling you that you can't? Isn't it telling you could give it, and not that you have to give it, you can give it, but you can't give it as a carbon. It's
what?
Giving you, if you want, the pasuk's coming to tell you that you can give it to the base of English, even though you can't give it as a carbon. It's giving you a way out, not that you have to give it.
Giving you an option, correct.
Right, it's giving you an option.
So it can't be an essay. If it's not an essay, that's all I'm saying. It's not an essay. It's not a mitzvah. My esteemed son-in-law will tell you it's a mitzvah to give it a bedek habayis. It's not a mitzvah. You can give it to parents to make a barbecue.
You could do that, Abba, but if you give it, it's a mitzvah.
No, there's no if mitzvahs. It's a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. There's no if mitzvahs.
What do you mean? If you give it to the bedek habayis instead of giving it to parents for barbecue.
Any stock I give to bedek habayis is a mitzvah. I give them a hammer, it's a mitzvah too. One thing.
I know, but it's saying that if the mitzvah is that if you're going to give it to the Beis Hamikdash, it has to go to bedek habayis. Mashma, oisay atamatus bedek habayis.
Mashma, just it can't be called a mitzvah. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So. Okay. So oisay atamatus.
No, it could be called a mitzvah. It can't be called an assay.
It is an assay.
This is a says or Moshe says. Those are the only kind of mitzvahs. The other things are on the Haggatayv, like saying picking kutaris from a cloth. It's not a mitzvah. There's mitzvahs, there's assays, and los assays. That's it for mitzvah.
Yeah. No, but that's what it is. If you're going to give it to the Beis Hamikdash, you got to give it to bedek habayis, right? So I say atamatus bedek habayis. That you should give the bedek habayis. I atamatus tamimim lebedek habayis. What do we can be mashma from that? That a tamimim. Right? You can't give to bedek habayis because if you could give a tamimim to bedek habayis, so what should be the problem? Right? So Elamai, it's saying tamimim should go to bedek habayis. Tamimim should not go to bedek habayis, right? Mikan amru kol matus tamimim bedek habayis over ba'asay. Anybody who is matfis, who gives a fully healthy animal to the bedek habayis is over and a mitzvah to say, because only messed up behemoths should go to the bedek habayis.
Blemished.
Blemished. No, it's not blemish. Blemish too strong a word, right? No.
Why?
What do you say?
Yeah, he brings a footnote here from before, the line before, that a blemished animal may be contributed for its monetary value for the upkeep of the temple.
Yeah, but this is okay. He's calling it a blemish. I didn't call this a blemish, but okay, they want to call it a blemish. Fine.
That doesn't mean it's right just because he writes it here.
No, okay. I trust him more than I trust myself. Right?
Daf Yomi.co.il also says blemish.
Okay, so fine. Okay.
Don't worry, this is not a blemish on your reputation as a big
It's quite all right. It's quite all right. I wouldn't. All right. I didn't think it was mamish that strong. But either way, so mikan omru kol amatis tmim and lebedegabayis over basay. Right. If you give the point is if you give a non-blemished, non-issue, an animal with no issues. Let's talk the Heintige Lashon, right? No issues. It has no issues. I don't know about mental issues, but certainly no physical issues, right? You're not allowed to give it to the bedek habayis. Ainly alabasay, but loisa seminayin. That's in a mitzvah say. How do you know it's a loisa set? It just tells you because it says vayidaber Hashem al Moshe lemor. Tells you that the whole parsha is a loisa set. Divrei Reb Yehuda, which is very interesting, right? What is it? Where does it say that? Yeah, that means every parsha that starts with Yidav Hashem Moshe Lemor is a loisa set. Well, let's see weiter. Rebbe levar kapra. My mashma. Where's the mashma like that? What do you see by Yidaber Hashem El Moshe Lemor is a lav. Amaloi tichsiv Lemor loy nemar. No, right? Meaning loy nemar meaning it. No, it's not said with all these things that we're about to write.
Oh no, it's a nemar a lav, nemar a lo. That's I think the way I would read it.
Loi nemar, right? No, it said no. This thing is no. What we're about to say is a no. It's a no.
Correct,
it's a no-go.
I agree.
Right? Bei Rav Amri Leimor lav emor. Leimor stands for lav emor. Yeah, so therefore that's how Rabbi Yehuda knows that it's a lav. Whatever it is, the point is that we see that Rabbi Yehuda is the one that holds that a lav of ba mechlala say is a loisas, is a lav.
What's the proof to that? That means lav never.
That's what leimor means. The word leimor.
How do we know that? Prove it.
What?
How do we know that? Prove it.
I don't know. That's the way he's touching up the pasuk of leimor.
Okay.
Right?
It's not shooting. It's not pashut the crop.
I would think that it's not pashut in the crow. That's what I would think.
Right. So what I'm saying, where's the right there?
Yeah. Okay, weiter.
You're saying it's a loitza as supposed to say. That's a big chiddush to say in the crop.
It is a very. I think it's a big chiddush. Yes, I think it's a big chiddush to say every lane more is lav emor.
Yeah, I'm saying
right.
Unless you have a makar for it. I mean,
the makar. I mean, it's Rabbi Yehuda. You know what I mean?
I understand, but he has to bring a proof. It's not shooting the crop. It's you're changing everything from an asay to loitza asay. It's not shooting. I mean.
Oh, so good. So the Tosfos, the truth is, I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but the Tosfos, the top Tosfos says, wait a minute, so every time it says in the parsha V'yidaber Hashem Moshe Lemor means it's a lav, right? I mean, again, I'm not no Baki and Chumash, but I imagine there's a lot of lav that you're going to add on to this. Right. So Tosfos says, Nira Lari, Dainu Davka Bahano Dvarim T'isbu Lav Haba Mechlal Asay. It's only when there's a parsha of lav Haba Mechlal Asay. Then, if it says V'yidaber Hashem Moshe Lemor, then that makes it into a lav, but not stamp al shadvarim loy. Not other than other situations, we wouldn't say it.
A lav of Mechlala says what? A lav that comes.
Rabbi Yehuda is saying that it's a lav. Rabbi Yehuda is saying it's a lav, and where does the lav? It has to be a lav. You can't just say a lav of Mechlala say is a lav. It doesn't say lav in the Torah. It says do this. Memela, it sounds like you can't do this, right? Do A, it's mashma. Mashma, don't do B, but that doesn't say it. So how do you get that? So Rabbi Yehuda is saying because it says in the beginning of that parsha, V'yidaber Hashem Moshe Lemor. So that's what Lemor is.
Could you just
Okay.
say again, what does it mean, alav haba michlal asay? Could you just give me an
Meaning,
example?
the case here is that give the animal that doesn't say mum, has a blemish to the bedek habayis. Right?
That would be the
Mashma,
asay. That would be the asay.
That's an asay. Mashma, don't give a non-blemished animal to the bedek habayis. That would be a lois asay, but doesn't say that straight out. It's just mashma.
Okay. Right, thank
But
you.
how do you say that that's a lav? How does the Yehuda say it's a lav if there's no lav? Where is the lav? Where does the Torah say it's a lav? It's very nice. We infer it. Doesn't
It's
say it.
implied. Right, it's implied.
So that's what we're saying. That's what it says in this puzzle. It says, "Vayidabra Hashem, Moshe Lema." So then the Lamor tells it to you. Okay. May tashmisha shonachtim. Yeah. So may tashmisha shonachtim. We said that the water that the baker sticks his hands into while he's baking to wash them off, and he should constantly do that so that he doesn't get old dough that's already chametz stuck on his hands. So then you spill it out. Tani chadashayim b'makam midron. One says you pour it out on a place that's on a slant, right, so that it just keeps running and doesn't accumulate. And you don't pour it someplace, right? You don't pour it into a place where it's gonna ashburan means where it's gonna collect. But tani idach shaychen b'makam ashburan, you could pour it in a place that it's gonna gather. So we have a stira, like kasha, had the nefishi the kavo, had the loy nefishi the loy kavo. One is somewhere where there's a lot of water, so it's gonna kavo from the word mikvah. It's gonna gather. Had the loy nefishi the loy kavo. This is where it's not a lot. It's not gonna gather. Amr Yehuda, isha le'salish el b'mayim shalom. A woman should not knead the dough, knead, only with mayim shalonu. Literally mean that it went overnight. Shalonu means that it slept, right? Meaning you have to collect it before Shkia, and then it sits overnight. Why? Because when you get the water, you get it in the winter. In the winter, the water under the ground, right, is warmer because the sun is hitting it from a different angle. I don't know the science behind this, but that's what we're chayshid for. So we're afraid that the water is warm, and we don't want warm water mixing it with the flour. So therefore, you take it overnight so that it cools it off, right? So then the chayra doesn't have to be overnight, right? You're going with that understanding of it doesn't have to be overnight, it just has to sit out for a face, 12 hours. Okay, whatever it is. But a woman shouldn't knead the dough only with mayim shalom. Darsha Rav Masta b'panunya lemachar, right? So Darsha Rav Masta darsha this in b'panunya, and the next day Aisu kuli ama chatzvayu v'asu legabe. Everybody brought their buckets and they came to him. V'amru lehavlan maya, give us water. So Amr lehu. I said what I meant is not shalanu, mine. Right? You got him and said it, Joshua. Everybody should get shalanu, right? And so they all brought. Okay, well, you're providing water, Givaldic. So everybody came for water. He said, no, that's not what I meant. He said it in a different language to explain to them that that's what it means.
So this is a Gemara joke.
Yeah, it's a famous joke, Doctor. It's a famous joke. They say it over. People came to the Rebbes before Yontif for Mayim Shalom. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know I couldn't remember where I saw this, but they use this. I don't know if it's another Gemara someplace else. Maybe somebody knows, where they say how important it is that somebody who's saying the shir for the public to be very clear exactly what he's referring to. I just don't know. It's in Hilchos Pesachim.
Isn't it Mishna and Pirkei Avos?
Could be.
We have this in Shabbos.
What do you say?
Chachamim desire, and it's something. It's Hillel says, I think maybe something in Pirkei Avos. I remember.
I'm saying, but they bring down this case, not the Mishnah, obviously. This is a Moira, but did the Mefarshim maybe bring it down?
Oh, this case?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's similar to the cases we had before in Shabbos about using good lashinus or bad lashinus.
Well, that was Pesachim, really. That was Pesachim, beginning of Pesachim.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
But I know, but there was more than that. It was more than that. I can't remember. I mamish can't remember. Okay, fine. Darash Rava Isha. So now we get a lot of instructions of how to knead dough. And we paskin like most of these. Darash Rava Isha le'salish b'chama. You shouldn't knead the dough in the sun, because obviously the water is going to get hot. But chama, and not with anything. You shouldn't knead the dough with something that got hot from the sun, right? Meaning fire or I don't, what do you call those things? Solar.
Water.
Water, I'm saying
Water.
the water
Water
that got
heated by the
from-
sun.
That's the first one. Well, the first one is, well, that's really heating up the dough.
No, the first one is in the sun, and the second one is water from the sun.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Not with hot heat from, okay, I guess it's heated from the sun. Right. It's one, yeah. Mayim hagrufin, and not with water that came from a goruf is what do you call it? It's a where they kept water hot over the fire. Grufin, I'm sorry. Mayim grufin min mulya, and not with water that you took out of this mulya which sat over the fire. She shouldn't lift her hand from the oven, right? Meaning it doesn't mean from the oven. She doesn't have her hands in the oven. It means that she, like Rashi says, she has to be busy with the dough the whole time, which is the hard part of baking. One of the hard parts of baking matzahs. You don't want to leave it alone, right? Until you're finished. Yeah, and you need two kalim, right? One that she puts mekatevas, we said she puts a little water on it. One that she makes her hands cold with it, right? That's which is the Mishna that the baker has to cool off the hands. If she was over and she kneaded with these things, what's the din? Marzucha Amar Mutter. Marzucha says Mutter. Ravashi Amar assur. Ravashi says no. The matzah is assur. Amar Marzucha Mina. How do I know about this? The Tanya ain't licensed in assur Pesach. We said that you're not allowed to soak barley on Pesach. Im licensed nisbaku assurim. And if you did soak the barley, if the barley cracked, it's assur. Lo nisbaku mutarim. If it didn't crack, it's mutter. But Ravashi Amar. Ravashi says okay. So that's what he's saying. So you see, by soaking barley, you're not allowed to do it. And if you did do it, it's mutter. So Mamela here too, Bidieved, it's mutter. So Ravashi asks the obvious question. But Ravashi Amar, we had this, I think in Maasros says in Brachos, right? Are all Isurim said the same way? I mean, just because one Isur you're not supposed to do, and Bidieved it's okay. So that means from now on, every Isur that they say don't do it this way, if you did do it, it's mutter. Why are you comparing the two? Where it says Bidieved it's good, it works. But if it doesn't say it, it doesn't say it. So why are you assuming that Bidieved it's okay just because in another area of making matzahs it's okay? Okay, Hadran Allah Kol Shah. Yes, so that was not an easy parak. Fine. So now this parak, Elu Ivrin, we get into all the mixtures of chametz, right? You get it's negeya to medicines and shampoos and all these type of things where it's very little chametz in there. Does the chametz combine? Does it not combine? Etc. Etc. So Zog the Mishnah. And this is what you're over on Pesach, right? Rashi says you're going to be over the Bal Yira Bal Yematzah, and the Gemara is going to explain it. So Rashi Mamish holds you over on and Mamish Isser on these things just like regular chametz, even though it's just a mixture of chametz. Right? It's not full. There's not pieces of challah here, right? So kutach habavli, which is like some sort of dip, right, made with milk and pieces of chametz. Sheikh haramadi, beer, chametz adaymin, that's vinegar. Zisam and mitzri, that's this mitzri is we'll see in the Gemara exactly what it is from Mitzrayim. The zayman shel tzavayim, and the tzavayim is the dyers. The zayman is some sort of dye, the liquid that the dyers use. Vamilan shel tabachim, right, and the dough of from a cook. The kailan shel seifrim, and the glue from or paste from the seifrim, from people that write svarim, or anything. Even women's tachshitim, what do you call it?
Clothes.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics. Hence all the cosmetics lists. We'll get to that at a different time. Okay, we'll discuss that. This is the sham, right? This is the rule. If it has chametz in it, harei zo'ever Pesach, harei olabaz hara. And it's a deraisa vein b'mishum chorus, but you're not going to get chorus, right? So we're going to see why you're not getting chorus for it, right? So again, but the rule is it's a issa deraisa, but there's no chorus, Fine. So Zogdi Gemara, now the Gemara first says some health things. There's three things that are said by kutach habavli. Metamtem es halev, right? It's metamtem the lave, sort of like not chol of Yisrael. No, I don't know. Metamtem es halev, whatever what people say, you know. Okay, shine. But so does kutach habavli. Yeah, Masama say naim, it makes you blind. Umachas es aguf, and it weakens the body. Metamtem es halev mishum nesu v'dechawa, because of the way. Right? I don't know what that tells us. Yeah. Does that mean that the way is, I guess it's telling you that it's unhealthy. And it makes it blind because of the salt. And it makes the body weak because there's mold in the bread. Right? Yeah, because obviously the bread is sitting in there for a long time, so it's going to get moldy. Okay, so clearly, kutach habavli does not sound like a very healthy food. Yeah, but it's interesting that they didn't assur it else. They didn't assur it else not healthy, right? Why don't you just assur kutach habavli because it's clearly unhealthy, right? So, but people did eat it. So, does this tell you that you could smoke cigarettes? I don't know. We'll leave that to the oilam. Okay. There's three things that cause people to have a lot of zevel. Yeah, I'll leave parrots the way to teach zevel.
How is kutach habavli not like an assur, like a full blown assur because it has bread in it?
No, it is.
No, but we said if we ended off the Mishnah.
I mean, why is it not chorus? Why is it not chorus?
Yeah, I'm saying we ended off the Mishnah saying if it was maasros or not.
Right.
Kutach habavli has bread in it.
Right. Correct.
So how is that no time?
Right. So the answer is because So the answer is going to be is because since it's a dip, the Gemara is going to discuss it. But since it's a dip, you're not eating a kedei achilas pras. Any achila to be chayav on, the chorus is going to be kedei achilas pras, and you're not going to eat a kedei achilas pras because bread is only one part of the ingredients, and since it's a dip, you're not going to end up. You're not going to end up eating kedei achilas pras. Although I don't know, bisman hazeh with the dips, maybe you do eat a dip kedei achilas pras with what people do nowadays. Okay, we'll see that on Amud Beis. There's three things that are mar by the waist, and they make you bent over. It takes 1/500 of a person's eyesight. Elohein pas kiver, right? Bread that's we had this bread that's with bran and stuff like that. Yeah, which sort of sounds like with the bread that everybody's into bisman hazeh, whole wheat. The shecher chadash, right? And new beer, the yarak chai, and raw vegetables. Yeah. So the first two are anti-healthy people, and the middle one is pro-healthy people. Well, I guess if you have old beer, then it's going to be okay. Fine. There's three things that stop you from having a lot of waste. And they make you straight, and they make you have less eyesight. Elohein pas nekiya, clean bread. Basar shamein, fatty meat. V'yayin yashon, and old wine. Right? So that sounds like it's a good thing. So it's both have advantages and disadvantages. Pas nekiya. What's pas nekiya? Now we're on Temed Beis. Desmida. Right? That's from Silas, what you said is fine flour. Basar shamein. What's basar shamein? The tzvirta. The tzvirta de le'eftach. It's from a female that never gave birth. That's basar shamein. Yain yashan atik atiki. Old wine means really old wine. Yeah? So Rashi says it's 3 years old. 3-year-old wine.
So by the sheep, it's the opposite? You're fatty before you give birth?
I guess so, Peretz. I guess so. I didn't think of that, but it's a good ha'ara. Yeah. Yeah. Kol mili damali lahai kosher lahai. Whatever helps for this is difficult for this. Meaning the kosher lahai, mali lahai. What's bad for this is better for this. Bami zangvilo, except for what do you call zangvil?
Ginger.
Right, ginger. Right, zangvil retiva. Moist, fresh ginger, or pilpuli arichta, and long peppers, upas nikia, and clean bread, or basar shamein, and fatty meat, v'yayin yoshon, demali lekula, that's always good. Right? So that last one is very pro. The fatty meats is always healthy. Fine. Shecher amadi. So what's shecher amadi? The ramu bei meisari, they put in barley water. Chametz adaimi. The Shadu Beisari that they put in barley. They put the vinegar. They put vinegar. They put barley into it. So therefore, it's going to be also because barley is chametz, right? Yehuda, when they would bring the wine from Yehuda for karbanos, meaning it was such good wine, it didn't become vinegar until they had to put in barley. And then that's what they would call vinegar. But nowadays, the wine of the Adaimim, not the Yidden, has the same qualities as the Yidden used to have. Right? It's he's going to be filled up from the destroyed one. That what? Imalazu charvazu, meaning the Yidden and the Adaimim are never going to be in power at the same time. Right? When the Yidden have good stuff, the Goyim are not, and when the Goyim are going to have good, the Yidden are not. Right? So
Wasn't that Yaakov's bracha?
Exactly. Very good. It's very good, Naftali. One nation will be better than the other nation. So which tells you that they're never going to be great together. In the beginning, if you took vinegar from an Amoretz, you didn't have to take maaser off him. Because it was chazaka that it wasn't real vinegar. It came from wine, grapes that were soaked. Meaning, so it was just like how do you call it? Not real. It's not real. It's what do they say nowadays? It's concentrate. But it's a real lousy concentrate. So therefore, it doesn't have really grapes in it. So there's nothing to take maaser. So it's mostly liquid. But nowadays, though, if you take vinegar from an amoretz, because the chazak is that it comes from wine. Nowadays, the issue with vinegar on Pesach is it grain vinegar, right? This is trumos and maasros. Nowadays, all the vinegar issue before Pesach is it grain vinegar? Is it not grain vinegar? Etc. etc.
Well,
Wine
we had
vinegar
that.
what do you say?
We had that 25 years ago or something. They had the wrong vinegar. They found it on
Right.
Yom Tov. It was the wrong vinegar.
Right. Remember that was a big shaila, right? They chapped out of Yom Tov that it was a grain vinegar, right? So nowadays you want wine vinegar for Pesach. You don't want the grain vinegar. The Sabra of Yehuda Temed labar isuru. Does Yehuda say that Temed doesn't give ma'aser? Vatanya hamasamed v'nosan mayim b'mida u'matzav kidei midasei potter, right? If you make Temed and you put a measurement of water in it, into the grapes, into the junk from the grapes, u'matzav kidei midasei, and you found how much you took off the amount that you put in, potter, you're potter. Yehuda mechayev. Yehuda says you chayev. See, Yehuda says you are chayev for ma'aser on Temed. Hachikamer lo nechshedu amayoretz al haTemed. He's saying no, Amoratzim are not chayshid for Temed, right? Because for some reason the Amoratzim do give ma'aser on it because it's a cheap drink. So they have no problem. Rashi says they have no problem giving ma'aser from that. If to lose, chashuv stuff that they don't want to do, but Temed, which is just a concentrate, okay, they'll take it off. Nechshadu always say no, they are chashuv, like kasha habedarvika habedefutzri. One is talking about when it was made from things that have actual wine, and habedefutzri is one is from the seeds. So the seeds is not really is nothing. So if you make this vinegar from wine seeds, that doesn't need maaser. But if you take it from actual pieces of wine or skins or whatever it is, grapes, and you make it that way, even though it's concentrate, but still it would need maaser. Fine. Zeisam mitzri. So what's zeisam mitzri? Ma zeisam mitzri. Tana riyasa tlasa sairi. It's a third barley. Tlasa kurtami. It's a third of kurtami, which is why do they tie saffron? Do they touch it? That's some sort of spice, no?
Let's not start again. 1 per 30 people. What is it? Something like that. We had it before.
It's very concentrated. It's very expensive.
There you go. Okay. The tlasa milk and a third salt. Right? So since it has barley in it, so therefore that's the problem. Rapapa mafik sari umayachiti. Rapapa says it's not barley, it's wheat. For simonich sisni. Right? So what's the simon? Sisni with the samachs. Samachs and sari, barley, right? That's the simon. Tarulahu Yeah. So what do you do with this? So we have machlokes whether it's barley or wheat, and then you would soak it, v'kalulu, and then roast it, v'tachnilu, and grind it up, v'shasulu, and then drink it. Midivcha v'adatzarta from Pesach till Shavuos. Right? Divcha is what do you call it? From Pesach to Shavuos. The Chametz marpile. If you're somebody who's constipated, it'll loosen them up. Udarafim makmile, and somebody who has the runs, it's gonna stuff him up. Right? It's interesting, right? Whoever has an issue, it fixes your stomach issues. Whichever way you need it, it fixes it. But if you do it for a chayla or to a pregnant woman, then it's a sakana. Because
if there's an issue, if there's a machlokas on whether this is good or not, why not just wait till after Pesach to use it?
And
they're taking it anyway from Pesach to Shavuos. So wait till after Pesach. Why? No,
I think no. The Mishnah is saying you can't take it. You're right. You can't take it. I think that's what the it's meant to be taken from Pesach to Shavuos, but the Mishnah is saying don't take it on Pesach. And it's chametz. It's mamash has chametz in it, right?
David, you got to a Pesach program. You gave him $20,000, and you find out they have this on the menu. Then what do you do?
Exactly.
They'll say they have a rabbi to rely on, right? Okay, the Zayman Shel Tzabayim, Hacha Tagimu. So what's Zayman Shel Tzabayim? In Hacha, meaning in Bavel, they touched it Maya de Chivari. It's water that has bran in it, meaning wheat. It's Savabahu Liba, that they put in it. What do you call it? They use it to skins. They use this thing as a dye to dye leather. What it is, it's grain bread that is not cooked a third, that you put it on the mouth of the kedera, and it draws out the bad taste. It draws out the bad taste. Okay, we got to get off here because women are going to start to get on, and we're going to scare them all away. So I guess we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow.
We can stop the video so they won't see our faces.
Do these have to be edible to be forbidden?
Yes, l'chayra they have to be edible. No.
Well, that's my question.
I think so. Of course, I'm assuming it has to be edible. Yeah. All right. A good talk. I'm going to sign off.
Good talk.
Kutach.